Pet Sematary by Stephen King is a haunting exploration of grief, loss, and the dangerous allure of second chances. Set in the small town of Ludlow, Maine, it follows Dr. Lewis Creed, who moves his family to a new home near an ancient burial ground with the power to resurrect the dead. When tragedy strikes, Louis is faced with a choice that will test the boundaries of love and morality, unleashing terrifying consequences. Why it's a must-read. Unrelenting tension. King masterfully builds a slow, creeping dread that culminates in a shocking and unforgettable climax. Universal themes, grapples with profound questions about death, acceptance, and what it means to let go. Complex characters. The Creed family feels heartbreakingly real, making their descent into horror all the more impactful. A true classic, widely regarded as one of King's darkest and most emotionally resonant works, it remains a benchmark for literary horror. Pet Sematary is not just a tale of terror. It's a deeply unsettling story about the lengths we'll go to for those we love and the devastating price we might pay. Chilling, tragic, and unforgettable, it's a horror novel that lingers long after the last page. The Shining by Stephen King is a masterpiece of psychological horror that explores the fragility of the human mind and the sinister power of a haunted place. The story follows Jack Torrance, an aspiring writer and recovering alcoholic, who takes a job as the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel. Along with his wife Wendy and his young son Danny, who has psychic abilities known as the Shining, Jack becomes trapped in the hotel's growing malevolence, spiraling into madness as dark forces push him toward violence. Why it's a must-read. Terrifying atmosphere. King crafts a claustrophobic setting where every creak and shadow becomes a harbinger of doom. Psychological depth. A chilling exploration of addiction, family dynamics, and the human capacity for evil. Unforgettable characters. From Jack's tragic descent to Danny's resilience, the Torrance family is as compelling as the horrors they face. Enduring legacy. One of King's most iconic works, The Shining has left an indelible mark on both literature and film, defining what horror can achieve. The Shining is more than just a ghost story. It's a harrowing journey into the darkest corners of the human mind and the supernatural forces that feed on it. Intense, gripping, and profoundly disturbing, it's a must-read for any fan of horror or masterful storytelling. Carrie by Stephen King is a groundbreaking tale of rage, revenge, and the devastating consequences of cruelty. King's debut novel tells the story of Carrie White, a shy, outcast teenage girl relentlessly bullied at school and tormented by her fanatically religious mother. But Carrie harbors a secret. She has powerful telekinetic abilities. When a cruel prank at her high school prom pushes her beyond the breaking point, her unleashed fury becomes the stuff of legend. Why it's a must-read. Raw emotional power, King captures the pain of isolation and the explosive consequences of suppressed emotions. Timeless social commentary. A sharp critique of bullying, societal pressure, and the destructive nature of repression. Memorable protagonist. Carrie White is a tragic, complex figure whose journey from victim to avenger is both heartbreaking and terrifying. Cultural phenomenon. King's first published novel, Carrie, launched his career and remains a cornerstone of horror, inspiring countless adaptations and discussions. Carrie is more than a horror story. It's a poignant exploration of humanity's darker instincts and the monstrous potential that can emerge when someone is pushed too far. Intense, gripping, and unforgettable, it's a landmark in both the horror genre and literary history. The Stand by Stephen King is an epic tale of survival, morality, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. Set in a post-apocalyptic America, ravaged by a deadly superflu called Captain Trips, the novel follows an ensemble cast of survivors as they navigate a world teetering on the edge of destruction. Divided by their loyalties, they are drawn into a final confrontation between two camps: the benevolent group led by the wise and compassionate Mother Abigail, and the malevolent forces under the control of the dark and enigmatic Randall Flagg. Why it's a must-read. Sweeping scope, a sprawling narrative that combines intimate character studies with a grand-scale battle of cosmic proportions. Richly drawn characters, King's cast of survivors, from the everyman Stu Redmond to the tragic Nadine Cross, feels deeply human, their struggles and choices anchoring the story's epic scale. Timely themes, explores themes of community, leadership, and the resilience of humanity in the face of unimaginable adversity. Unforgettable villainy. Randall Flagg is one of King's most iconic antagonists, embodying chaos, manipulation, and the seductive allure of power. The Stand is more than just a story of survival. It's a profound meditation on human nature, the choices we make, and the enduring battle between light and darkness. Immersive, thought-provoking, and deeply moving, it's one of King's most ambitious and enduring works. Misery by Stephen King is a masterclass in psychological horror, blending suspense, obsession, and the harrowing limits of human endurance. The story follows Paul Sheldon, a best-selling author who wakes up after a car accident in the remote home of Annie Wilkes, his self-proclaimed #1 fan. What begins as a rescue quickly turns into a nightmare as Paul discovers Annie's unhinged obsession with his work and her terrifying demands to rewrite his latest novel. Trapped, injured, and at Annie's mercy, Paul must use every ounce of his wit and will to survive. Why it's a must-read. Taut, unrelenting suspense, King creates a claustrophobic atmosphere where every moment is charged with tension. A study in obsession. Annie Wilkes is one of King's most chilling and complex villains, a terrifying portrait of fanaticism and madness. Raw, relatable fear. Stripped of supernatural elements, Misery is a stark reminder of how human monsters can be the most terrifying of all. Exploration of art and control. At its heart, the novel is a powerful metaphor for the relationship between creators and their audiences. Misery is more than a gripping horror story. It's a deeply unsettling examination of captivity, dependency, and the dark side of fandom. Intense, disturbing, and impossible to put down, it's a King classic that leaves an indelible mark.